Hi everybody, I'm Stephanie from Razzle Dazzle Rabbitry and Yarns, and we are going to do some hand carding. We have our Howard hand carders with us. We are going to hand card the Spinner Surprise Box. That can be found, this fiber can be found at razzledazzlerabbitry.com. Click on the shop and the Spinner Surprise Box, and 3 ounces of this fiber gets mailed to you. What is this? This is alpaca. This is angora rabbit. So this is actually a black angora rabbit. It looks gray. We have a total of, between these two, an ounce. If you select it, you get mailed 3 ounces. So all of this, we're just kind of fluffing this up a little bit. This actually has been hand carded in the past. So we're just gonna we're gonna take this, kind of mix it all up like that. And now we want to do this fast because let's say you just don't have a lot of time. So we're going to take both and we're going to start doing that to both of them together. And this is just a way of fluffing it up, mixing it up. Now this is not going to completely mix everything together, but it's just a way of blending these before these two fibers before you're hand carding it, and really fluffs it up. You can see that this isn't going to put the fibers actually together. This is just mixing everything. So when you grab a handful of this, it's going to be more mixed up, and that's what we want. So this is using your hand carders and just different techniques, different things you can do when you're working with fibers and you're trying to create different sorts of yarn, and if you're trying to go fast. So, really spreading things apart. Okay, so then when I grab a handful of this, it's quite fluffed up. I've got my hand carders here, and I just quickly load it on. So you take your fiber, you take your angora, you take your alpaca. This is just one way to do it. There's lots of ways to do it. You kind of hand mix it, you measure it out to an ounce, but then you hand mix it, hand fluff it up together. And when you're putting it on the hand carders like this, what you end up with is not too shabby. So it's not dramatic bunches of angora separated from dramatic bunches of alpaca. That's not what we want. We want them a little bit more blended together, but not 100%, because we do want the yarn that we're making, we want some variation with color, but we don't want it to be huge chunks of variation of the fibers. So these two fibers are quite close together. These fibers are not dramatically different for how soft they are, how soft they feel. They're not dramatically different in one being an extremely bold color and one not. So they're more similar than they are different, so that'll make a more consistent yarn. Again, here we go. So we just take and we just keep doing that. And if you have to, as you see me doing right here, you can just kind of pull some apart, but really just keep going. So this yarn, after we hand card all this, what we're going to do is we're going to spin up an ounce at a time, and we are going to then create a 2-ply. So we're going to spin a consistent single, a traditional consistent single. We're going to use the Ashford Elizabeth 2, and then we are going to use the ball winder. We're going to wind it back. We're going to wind it into a center pole ball, and then we're going to apply it back on itself to make the 2-ply. So that's what we're going to do. That's a 1 bobbin method for creating a 2-ply yarn. That's not the only method for creating a 2-ply yarn. There's quite a few other videos that I have that explain different methods. If you want more information on the 1 bobbin method, as you can see, this is quite blended together. You can still see some vegetable matter, by the way. That's just fine, because as we process this, the vegetable matter just falls out. I pick it out, through processing, it just starts getting loose. Every step makes it more and more loose. But we have more videos. Check out the channel if you haven't already subscribed. I would consider it if you're interested in fiber arts, and if you're interested in learning more or interested in just kind of what this is all about. If that's up your alley. We also have a video library section, and that is if you become a member of the channel, you get access. There's actually a couple, quite a few hundred extra videos that show a lot more of the behind the scenes of this entire process. So you'll get information about where this fiber comes from, the actual animals, the actual land, the process of how Razzle Dazzle Rabbitry really developed throughout the years. And you get to see some of the first rabbits, some of the older videos that we had, some of the older setups. Just the learning along the way through this entire fiber arts and fiber animal journey has been pretty massive, and it's been, there's the videos to show where we were and where we are, where we came from, and just all the different skills, all the different experiences that that having a fiber arts business, or the fiber arts and fiber animal business or farm, where it all comes from and how it all started. So, and thank you for those of you who have been subscribed to the channel, because you've been with us through a lot. You have, and you've remained. And there's thousands of you that have helped this channel be what it is, and helped it continue, which I am grateful for. We're just blending a little bit more of this together. I don't like how separate and different it is. I want it a little bit more together. This is a technique using this hand blending that I have not shown before in a video, just mixing things up like this. These are things that just through experience. This is just through the experience of working with the fibers and different fibers, knowing when can you do this, what are the results. It all comes from just doing this, just sitting down and actually picking up those hand carders, picking up that fiber and giving it a spin, giving it a try. So what kind of yarn is this going to make? So you can see this is actually going to make it the black and the black angora, which actually looks like a very light gray when we look at it. The black angora and the light fawn colored alpaca. When we put this together with these hand carders, when we blend them together, we're really ending up with a warm, more of a warm tan. It still retains some of the color, the deep colors of the black angora, which is the light gray, of course, but it matches it, and it kind of subdues the richness, the warmness, or the red, what appears to be more of the red of the alpaca. So it kind of tones that redness down a bit in the fiber. So this makes it not as bold of a color. So this is one reason why you may want to practice this or try this, because if you're looking for a certain color yarn and you just don't have the fibers, and if you're looking for a situation where you don't want to dye it to achieve that color, just working with the fibers that you do have and choosing colors and blending them together, that's something that you can still achieve what you want. So just by doing different things. The cool thing is, this yarn, I think, it's going to have personality. When you use this and create a product, which of course I'm always interested in mittens and hats and just outerwear like that, there's still, like, here's a hint of black and a hint, there's just those hints of color that they don't scream at you. They're not, they're not aggressive like that. This is This is a quiet sort of yarn that does have something to say, but it's not a yarn that has to scream it to get it said. You know, there's some art yarns, absolutely beautiful, but they're going to scream out what they have to say. This is not that sort of yarn, and it's definitely much more relaxed in how it presents itself. That's the whole goal. A yarn that blends in. So you guys know I've been hand carding using these very same hand carders for an extremely long time. I've tried other things. For those of you who followed the channel, you guys know I've tried other tools, tried other bits of ways. Like I used a Brother drum carder for quite a while. I enjoyed that. I have a Daisy Company blending board that I have used, and really just, you know, not being afraid to try a different tool. And in the end, what you probably noticed is I always come back to these. I always come back to these Howard hand carders. And these are 190 teeth per inch. These are wonderful for these fibers. Absolutely wonderful hand carders for these fibers. And you can see we're not getting the little neps in there. We're not getting the fiber getting over carded. When we're carding this fiber, we're not getting those little bunches where it almost balls up the fiber. And in this particular yarn, we don't want that, because that's going to provide a little bit of a texture when we're spinning it that we really just don't want this to be a textured yarn like that. We want this to be a smooth yarn. We're really loading this hand carder up. It's kind of my habit. I start getting towards the end, and I start getting excited about, okay, we don't have as much fiber to do. We're almost getting there, and it's ready to, then we're going to be ready to spin this. So just spin it into a traditional single. And this fiber is going to want to spin fine. You can spin this fiber thick, but this fiber naturally, when it's talking to you and you're spinning it and it's in your hands, it's going to be telling you that each of these individual fibers is fine, and it really is going to want to spin up fine. And you can of course force it to spin thicker. You don't have to spin it fine. You can make it do that, but it just naturally is going to want to be fine. Now, one of the things, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the length of the fibers themselves, the angora and the alpaca are of similar length. So this isn't a blending where I'm blending one fiber that's significantly shorter than the other. So that's part of what makes this nice to blend together, is that these are quite similar fibers. They're just a bit different in color. That's really the biggest difference, is just the color of the fibers. And doing this helps blend them together a little bit. Hello, Anita. Anita's decided to join us. So I highly encourage you, if you're interested in learning more about what we do, if you're interested in just seeing or watching this, to just subscribe to the channel. I would definitely ask you to join on that journey. And of course, if you really want a lot of the backstory, you can become a member of the channel, and you're going to get access to hundreds of videos. Always feel free to go to razzledazzlerabbitry.com and pick up this fiber. So this month is October. This is the October Spinner's Surprise fiber. If you're interested in that, there is a limited amount. Sometimes we do sell out, and just to let you know. So I would probably recommend, if you're interested in trying it out, get there sooner rather than later, because there's a very limited supply of this October fiber left. We don't have much, but that's it. So now there's a little bit of fiber left on this hand carder. You can see I'm just gonna grab it like this. I'm not even gonna turn it into a roll egg. Just take it off the hand carder. And so I have a little bit of fluff left. These are all my blended, very loose, very, very loose roll eggs. They're ready for spinning. And this fiber is going to end up in a very, very beautiful blend. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you have an excellent day.